I want to address this comment because there was a lot of other comments about people's flat out frustration with the concept of tithing and churches asking for money. And I know that can be a really sensitive topic. So this is just my personal interpretation of the word and my personal testimony. But in 2020, while I was on this church hopping adventure, the pastor was preaching on something totally unrelated to finances, tithing, and offers. But the Holy Spirit convicted me to give away a large amount of money that I had dedicated for my now wife's engagement ring fund. It was $10,000. I spent a lot of time and work and energy, obviously, building. And when I was at church, the Holy Spirit, loud and clear, convicted me, give away the whole amount, all $10,000. And you know, when you get those big callings, that you know you need to do something that's really uncomfortable, but you can't even fully comprehend it because you are scared of the unknown. You don't know what the other side's gonna look like. And that was me. I was like, no way, God, I'm not doing that. I hear that, but no way. Like I was so scared. I didn't even want to believe he said that. But it planted a seed. And I go back to church the next week. And again, it had nothing to do with finances, tithes, offers, any of that. But the Holy Spirit made it very clear in my head to give away the full amount, all $10,000. So I was like, geez. So I called a couple mentors. And what was crazy is even they were kind of validating my flesh and my fear. And they were like, well, you know, a tithe is only 10%. It's not really the full amount. But I knew clearly God called me to give away that full amount. And that just speaks to sometimes the things God calls us to do, even mentors we respect can't comprehend it. So I ended up praying on it and receiving that confirmation from God. So I went to the bank on my own, pulled out the $10,000, put it in the envelope that next week at church. I was sitting right next to my now wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, had no idea about the money because she didn't know I was going to propose. I put the money in the envelope and she didn't see it. I put it in the basket. And I kid you not, right when I dropped the money into the basket, I had financial shackles and bondage fall off of me. And I felt delivered from lack and scarcity that I had struggled with my whole entire life. And the message was clear to me at that moment that God was saying, you're worried about $10,000. But what I'm trying to do in you is worth so much more than $10,000. It's worth more than any amount of money as far as what I'm trying to restore in you and do in you. But I can't do through you what I want to do through you if you constantly have these fears of limitation and scarcity and lack. And so he was trying to deliver me from that. And this is, again, just what happened to me. But shortly after, in a supernatural fashion, I started a new business during COVID. That new business in the first 30 days did more than my previous business had done in the last 3 years. And then I ended up generating over $10 million in sales 18 months after. I'm not saying it was 100% the cause of tithing that $10,000, but it was definitely related. It was related to obedience. It was related to the power of tithing. It was related to giving and having an abundant mentality, because the more that we give, the more that we know that we'll be able to produce. And in Proverbs 3:9-10, it says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing and your vats will brim over with new wine. So I have a different perspective on that. I understand there's sensitivity there when it comes to churches overly asking for money. Like, nobody wants that. But I actually think it's a disservice if churches don't always offer the opportunity for us to bless the church, because we receive a blessing by giving. So that's my perspective. Hope that helps somebody.